What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's trying to be a little cold over here, y'all. I know if it's cold here in the Sunshine State, then I know it's probably very cold other places. Even though I'm in the Sunshine State, though, y'all, these streets been very icy. And when I say icy, the word on the street. I got up this morning. It was cloudy and windy, and the sun is out-ish. And I'm like, do I need to leave the house? Because I ain't really prepared. I mean, as prepared as I can be for these icy streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the protocol? Remember that from Set It Off? What's the protocol when the streets is icy? Stay your ass home. That's what I would say. I mean, freedom papers and things are in order, but if you ain't got to go moving around while these folks is out here doing whatever it is they're doing, then I would say, stay home and avoid all of these icy streets. Anyway, y'all, that's not why we're here. That was just a public service announcement. I don't know what town you live in, but in my town, in my community, the community page is letting the people know. You know what's crazy to me? And then I'm going to get off of this. You know what's wild to me is I've said many times that I live in a very highly populated Latina, area. So just as not to be confused with, the rest of my brothers and sisters over here in this area, I'm staying my ass home. But it's really crazy to me, like how in the community page, there's so much like support for these icy streets. And I'm like, I wonder if you would feel the same way if you had an encounter. I don't think that these people that are out here making the street so icy, I'm not sure that they care, honestly, whether your freedom papers is legit or not. I would just prefer not to have any of those types of encounters. So during the revolution, we're going to make sure that the reaction, from whatever action it is, don't get your ass in trouble. Y'all, it's season 10 over here in Huntsville. It's episode 16. And of course, they're going on another break. Now, had this episode not been as good as it was, I mean, for a love and marriage Huntsville situation, I would consider not coming back, but we're going to power through. We're going to power through this season before I check all the way out. I feel like a lot of us have checked out. They're offering new things. We got Stormy coming with Bell Collective Birmingham. I want to see it. I would think, I'm looking forward to that. Something else besides whatever. We thought Stormy maybe would go over there to Jackson, but she don't live over there in Jackson. So, yeah, I want to see whoever the rest of the cast is. Shout out to Stormy, somebody with a real business that be handling business. And I don't even mind like the bumps. You know what I'm saying? People try to shame you for bumps that come along, in your business. I feel like Stormy has met them head on and managed to still maintain. So, as far as a businesswoman is concerned. So I feel like the bumps shouldn't necessarily be something that's, if you're on a show and you're talking about it, and I feel like she on this show was pretty much open about the things that, she's gone through. So I'm looking forward to seeing like what's next with Stormy's business, her and Courtney. I'm sure their little baby is, he getting a little bigger now. So he going to start being entertaining when he, says whatever the hell kids say, because they're always saying the darndest things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Whatever's happening over here seems like it's the end of a chapter, not for just us, but for, others as well. So y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into whatever was going on over here in Huntsville this week. Tisha and Marcel are throwing an 80s party. And I was like, how old were these people in the 80s? Are they, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, with the exception of Kimmy and the Fletchers, that's right, Kimmy and the Fletchers, everybody else is pretty young. That would explain why there's so much 90s references in their 80s, throwback. Only the olders had it right. So they're at the house. Tisha doesn't want to invite everybody, which is weird. This is this thing that they all do. Girl, Nobody gives a shit. Tisha, if you start uninviting, not inviting, not including people to your events, then nobody's gonna come. I feel like events is something Tisha's never really been that great at anyway. Um, yeah. So, and as somebody who got thrown out of an event, like there's no real reason for you to not include Nell. I don't want to include Nell. I don't want to include Destiny. Destiny's loyalty is in question because she got out the car and went and got in the car with Nell. And I think that was stupid, Destiny. You should have just gotten in the car with Nell in the first place since y'all had things to hash out. Then it wouldn't have been so weird. Would Tisha have still had something to say about it? Probably, because she's a spoiled little baby who tells her mommy when she's unhappy. You know who she reminds me of? And Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, the little girl, Daddy, I want it now. So she's over here getting wanted to come do her dirty work still. And this is, the issue that we have with Tisha. I was looking at Tisha, I was like, she's so flipping cute. Sitting there looking at Marceau, trying to come up with her terrible rap lyrics. And he thinks he's so good. He's just better than her. So that doesn't make you good. That makes you less terrible. So they have this idea. They're going to record these, lyrics that are basically dissing all their guests. But it doesn't matter because nobody's going to hear it except Kimmy and Marcel and Ken and Trisha. So this was a whole... they do this on the Housewives. You know what I'm saying? Carlos is, probably... It would have been a cute idea if everybody was included. You know what I'm saying? But they decided because Tisha wants to be the gatekeeper, it fell flat. She was talking about the fallout between her and Destiny, why her and Destiny haven't really been getting along, and her and Nell, and how, if Nell and her are saying the same thing. They're both like, if you don't leave me alone. Tisha says, stop arguing. I don't want to argue. I just don't want to argue. She's the one perpetuating the argument and then saying, I don't want to argue. So she doesn't make sense. This lady needs some attention from somewhere. Jesus. Do you know people like that in your real life? I tend to shy away from situations like this, like Tisha. She wouldn't be somebody like Kimmy said. No, in real life, I would not mess with her because nobody has time to be catering to whatever it is. If I disagree with you, girl, now I gotta be, fooling around with her and her mama and the nonsense that comes along with that. So, anyway, she said, if Nell don't stop, she gonna spill her tea. And what did Marcel say? He said, sometimes when you're spilling the hot tea, you spill it on yourself. And that's what's going to happen if they start doing that. Like they're going to start saying all the stuff that the streets have been saying, and naming names and all this type of stuff. And they're only going to make the situation worse, which part of the problem with this show is that y'all are so big up on marriage, but you're attacking marriages and the whole narrative of everybody's husband is a cheat and good grief. And what else? Duh, and what? For goodness sakes. Anyway. Between Nell and Tisha both, no matter what the streets is saying, y'all are, Nell has just had her second wedding after 30 years. Y'all committed to the behavior. The behavior is part of your marriage. For goodness sake. So spill it. Nothing's going to happen. Besides, like he said, you spilling hot tea right on your damn self. Marcel said that would be weird. So, don't do that. Just we're not going to be excluding people. And she was like, that's fine. Nell likes to argue. So, my mother's going to be there and, she's doing her thing, her blogging thing or what have you. And so she'll have questions for Nell. I can't imagine telling my mother that I'm having a beef with some lady and I would like for her to go handle it. And she would probably be like, I'm not probably, definitely. I might paraphrase, but basically, she would tell me she's not about to come involve herself in some mess with some people she don't know. And whatever the mess I got going on, I can figure it out myself. I walked into it. I'm going to have to walk my way out of it. There's no way she would even engage in that kind of nonsense. But, I know some people with some mamas that might be related to my mother that maybe have handled things somewhat the way Wanda does. Everybody got theirs. Every family got theirs. So, I had to cuss out Aunt. She had to cuss everybody out. The man at the gas station, the girl at the checkout at the store. Somebody gonna get cussed out. So, we all got one. Um, I'm not sure I would stick her on anyone. That's immature and silly. That's why we think you're lame, Tisha, for sticking your mother on people. And then saying you don't want to argue. Like, technically, this is you still arguing. So they record their little rap situation. And like I said, they chose these two, Maurice and Kimmy, Ken and Trisha. These are the only people that are going to be, engaged, blessed with this entertainment, this little show. Marcel, I don't know. That's just like a radio. That's not a boombox. You know what I'm saying? If you were gonna do it, y'all should have just went full on boombox. Then you could just have the boombox at your house and turn it into something besides Bluetooth. But yeah, that's just a radio, Marcel. Like the kind you take to your work and sit under your desk, or back in the day, you want to just have some music playing. But anyway, they turn on the recorder and say their little raps, dissing the guests. Like I said, I don't know what they said about Ken and Trisha, but they had shit to say. Y'all talking shit about Destiny, and then didn't even give her the pleasure of listening to the recording. So, Lance, did y'all go check with Lance? Go over to the office? We don't know. It just seems like these two were the only two. They rented a whole old ass limo, which, Huntsville probably wasn't so hard to find. Don't be mad at me. I'm just saying, it's country shit around here too. The Fletchers received a text from Marceau, which, I could see why Fletch might feel away. Marceau could have at least picked up the phone. But everybody's beefing right now. Marceau and Fletch, I don't really feel like they like each other for real anyway. So if he just texts about the party. At least they're old enough to know what the 80s are. Okay, Marcel, for instance, he's got on his Coogee sweater, but when I see a Coogee sweater, that's leaning a little more 90s. I feel like, yeah, they were around in the late 80s. They were around, but I'm talking about becoming very popular amongst the hip hop community. But I think they really popped off in the 90s. So, yeah, when I see him standing there in the Coogee sweater, of course, I think Biggie. Tisha had it. Yeah, I feel like she had it. Maybe the jean jacket might be, like I said, it's a line because, it's a jean jacket. So jean jackets are, decades on decades of classic, in fashion. Yeah, so that's what they did, child. Trisha and Ken. Oh, so I'm trying to see what happened next. It was kind of like a lot happened and nothing happened all in the same episode. They at the party. We can get to the party. Let's get to this. Works for me. Wanda and the red carpet situation. I like it. I like it a lot. I think she's going to be on the red carpet, like asking the questions that the people want to know in the most, inappropriate way ever, but, entertaining at the same time. So Lance came up in there and she asked Lance, was he still messing around with Destiny? He said, no. Nah. And she said, oh, you dropped that hoe? Ooh. It was funny in this moment, just because Wanda is Wanda, but I don't get why Destiny is getting, except for the fact, she's not done anything but go out with these guys, but now I want to see how they act when they get mad and their little feelings. So he didn't say it, Wanda did, so I'm not going to get on him for that. Trisha and Ken, they came through here, on the TLC tip. This was not 80s. Yeah, this was not 80s. She looked like Left Eye. Does she have condoms on her hair? It looked like it. And Ken, well, one thing Ken gonna do is he gonna have on his arms out and stuff. So I'm not mad at his haircut. Tired of that afro. I don't know who was doing it down to the wicked gentleman's barbershop, but hopefully not Will, because the way his head looked, I wouldn't trust him to cut mine. What did Wanda ask? She asked this lady, she said, "Where's your husband?" And when are y'all getting married? Yep, they started over that one. Soon, soon. Yeah. Straight to who's in whose DMs. And then she got Kimmy and Maurice. Maurice, is he supposed to be Easy E? He's so corny. Kimmy got it. It was that, how Whitney Houston, I want to dance with somebody vibe. So Kimmy got it because Kimmy was there. So she remembers the 80s a little more clear than these kids do. Maurice, Marcel was down in Las Vegas with that young lady saying, that you and your brother both have relations with her. What's going on with that? Of course, he doesn't answer. He blows it off, but he honestly doesn't have to answer. The fact that she said that, now she said it in a more vulgar way, like than Nell said it, but Nell, y'all mad at her. Wanda's like asking the same questions. You know why? Because Tisha wants to know. So we might as well go ahead and get all these questions answered. I am here for Wanda on the red carpet. I can't believe I'm saying that. Martell. I feel like Martell nailed it. Somebody helped him. Martell, like maybe Sheree, did you give him some 80s advice? He looked, he's giving his best Run DMC Bobby Brown, Gumby haircut. Martell has hair. I wonder how his hair probably didn't look like that back then. Back in the day. This is probably the best hair he's ever had. Martell, what did you is that true? What that lady said? Martell actually finagled his way out of this question, and in a better way than I expected. He seen Wanda, I guess he was prepared for that. Whatever it was that was going to come out of her. And he knew she was going to question him about Tisha. So, yeah, he said we agreed not to discuss any of that anymore. And so for me, when y'all have your holiday parties and things, get Wanda some glam, put her on the red carpet, and let her go. That was entertaining. So this party. Child, I'm going through my notes, even though. So what's going on? Trisha and Ken and Will and the Fletchers are discussing destiny in such a weird way. Is destiny coming? Who is she coming with? What difference does it make? Well, this guy Will, what is he wearing? Oh my God, the more he's on screen. Did we ask for Will? I know I did, because he would sit up with Ken and seemed like he made so much sense. Now he's just gross. He's just as gross as the rest of them. And goofy. And these boys with these muscles that don't want to put shirts on is corny. Sorry, it's corny. Some people like it, I guess. I'm just saying, it looks nice, but it's corny. Y'all put a shirt. Y'all are both standing up there looking like baby Huey. Anyway, I think it's tacky how they're over here playing rock, paper, scissors. And, at some point, Destiny was dancing and they all surrounded her. And he said something like, Will, they asked him, who was Destiny coming with? And they're like, probably she'll bring Twan this time. Twan is, not much more mature, but not as bad as these two. So I guess if she has to pick one, he would be the one I would be giving my attention to. But it's have to see if he's going to let them, trick him into being, whatever it is they're doing over there. So Will says, what did he say? We have a group chat. Let me see whose turn it is. Destiny came over here. And although we've been talking about it, just because Destiny, I guess this is why you have to stay away from people in the same friend group. And Destiny is in real life is probably like, I mean, let's give him something to talk about, Harper Valley PTA, because she ain't got shit else going on. Like I said, we don't, really want to sit in her storage unit and watch her make broken hearted candles. So I seen her somewhere, on a world tour in the studio or whatever's happening with that. Then she's over here trying to, bogart her way onto Chris Fletcher's commission on a house that Martell will never build. It's a lot going on. So, might as well make it entertaining for y'all. But she has literally gone I don't know what she was doing at Lance's house over there at Miss Nell's house in the middle of the night with her kids in the back seat of the car. Now, we did not see that. We heard about it. So, I don't know why she's still swinging over there by Lance's house. Well, no. You've been in her DMs. She went and hung out with you that one day, and I think it's a no. She wants Twan to guard her body. We don't know why, because, she's not doing anything. But rather than say, I'm a holler at googly eyes. So, yeah, she's done nothing. And y'all are over here acting like y'all passed her around. It's corny. And Destiny, I mean, I don't know if she can hear it. It seems like she's playing into it. But for the most part, y'all are lame. But so is Destiny, so that doesn't surprise me. Miss Nell comes and sits down next to Tisha. Tisha makes a big deal out of it. Oh my God, you're coming to sit next to me. I can't believe you're sitting next to me. And Nell is like, yes. Is this Tisha not trying to start shit? Because it seems like she's trying to start shit. Where else am I going to sit, girl? You invited me here to do what? Now I can't come over here and sit at y'all's table? That doesn't make sense. And then here comes Wanda. And Wanda's trying to get an understanding of what's going on. And they, trying to explain to her why Destiny is considered suspect in the situation. Because she went over and got in that Sprinter. Then Wanda wants to know, so what's the tea between, Tisha and Ms. Nell? As if Tisha hasn't already broke it down to her. Because Wanda has a few bullets in her arsenal. And they're waiting to nail, her nail, blast Nell's ass, away from that table. Anyway, when she asked what's going on with them, Nell's like, nothing we want to talk about. So, we gonna talk about it because Tisha wants to fight. And her mother, is on ready. So the whole time, she said basically the husband started some shit. She even went on to say, my husband had to say some stupid shit about some NDAs, and then now me and Tisha are at it, and it doesn't make sense. And they're over there kicking and, having a good time. They're good. And Wanda's like, they're not good. They're just no good, or however she said it. And then, she wants to go in, she's prepared her fight, even though Nell has already pretty much it seemed like they started out on the same page and then shit just went left. Well, it went the direction that Tisha wanted it to go. Stay on course, Mom. Make sure you let her know that she needs to apologize to me because I keep starting shit with her. And for me, the shit doesn't start there with Chris Fletcher. It goes back farther. I've said it plenty of times. When she sat down for the first time with Nell, the first thing she says is, you've had infidelity in your marriage. That's, the conversation she wanted to bring up. So she was already ready when she started to hang out with Nell. They were on some whose bank account and I own 85% of his business. They just were having this, which is funny because Nell and Fletch have an actual house. It's a lovely home. It's not on stones. It's not on being bulldozed over. We haven't been waiting for 14 years to see the outcome. It's a nice, beautiful home. It could use some updating, but that's what people do when they're get settled in. And she probably would love to update her home, but she keeps on having to give her money to her kids. So that's why she's popping off, because these kids, these grown children, are getting in the way of her, doing the things that she wants to do. So, it's real shit happening over there. Even with Fletch and the license revoked, they're bringing it to the show. So, whatever people want to say or whatever the situation is, we're going to get to see it. They got real shit going on over here, not this made up shit that y'all, candles in the storage unit. Trisha and Ken been talking about, I want to get a brick and mortar. I want they be just down to the gym or over in the garage. They don't have a gym. Kimmy has businesses and, I don't know. She doesn't really promote them necessarily, but she's invested. Like she's got office building, which what can go on over there? But aside from Kimmy, Nell and Fletcher, the only ones that got shit going on. So they start going back and forth. The conversation got ugly because Nell said, "Your damn daughter already confronted Fletch." And then Wanda's like, "Why you got to be my damn daughter?" And then it went from there to dead mothers. And now Tisha, Tisha got what she, came for. Miss Nell did apologize to her. So hopefully, this will be the end of it. Clearly, they got other fish to fry. Destiny was on a dance floor. At one point, all three of these guys surrounded her. How old are you, Destiny? Y'all, let Stella get her groove back. Ciao. And then this happened. I feel like, Kimmy, I don't even want to say you brought this on yourself, but when did it all begin? Because this is such a strange conversation to be having so late in the relationship. Y'all are not having a conversation about lack of libido. Y'all are having a conversation about someone who feels like they should be receiving sex multiple times a day, every day. And that is a part of the setup of the relationship, according to Maurice. Now, I don't know anybody that's having sex multiple times a day. I mean, unless you're a prostitute, maybe you do that, and that's some different shit. I don't know. Maybe there are people that are built for it, but Kimmy clearly is not. I don't think that's a normal thing for a relationship. This man, is, I feel like if he needs sex that much, then he absolutely has a problem. That's his problem. He doesn't want to see what's going on here as a problem. So he comes over here and first he tries to gaslight Kimmy into thinking it was almost like a setup. He's very diabolical. He came in and she's like, "Oh, I live for my date nights." Date nights means sex. So I hope you plan on bending over because that's the agreement. So I'm not bringing you over here to dinner, have to sit here and talk to you and then not receive sex as reward. That's Maurice. So that's how his libido works. So he's going to come over here and rearrange what the doctor said in order to make him not feel like he don't sound like a fool. I think Maurice is very much aware that that's not normal. He knows damn well that nobody is having sex like that multiple times a day. Not to mention the elephant in the room. Kimmy is menopausal. She, first of all, just recovering from chemo, and healing from having cancer. And now you want her, like I said, she's at menopausal age. And so, yeah, she's probably in a phase where her libido, nobody's libido is on like 10,000. So it's not even like she's not trying to get there. These people don't like each other. And she said at one point, "You just stopped doing things." And he said, "Why did you marry me?" Because it did get to that level. The "Why did you marry me?" I feel like when a man says that, then didn't do that? Brandon did that on Love and Marriage Detroit. When they get to asking you them questions like that, and then Kimmy starts with the soft voice, but at the end of the day, there's no way that he believes that what he's saying makes any type of sense. I feel like he's putting her in a position where she has to just be like done with it. And she's not being done with it. She's trying to negotiate. And he's like, there is no negotiation. There is no middle ground. This is the terms and conditions of our relationship. And then like he does that thing where he makes that smug little face and say, it used to be fine for you. Now all of a sudden it's not. And she's saying, yeah, back then, what did she say? That's when you were building and, we were in your investment properties and, you know, and I was like, why was y'all doing it over in the investment properties? So now you're over there acting all hot and bothered during on a construction site. I feel like she was using that as an excuse. Um, if he doesn't want to build, I don't think that's the issue. It's that he doesn't want to be intimate in a way that is, you know, in any way loving and caring towards her feelings. Maurice is always trying to manipulate situations. We know that he'd be driving off to somewhere and then getting arrested between home. And the thing about that whole conversation is Kimmy said she thought he was at the office. She thought he fell asleep at the office. You thought that Maurice left the party tipsy and went to the office and went to sleep. So this is probably something that she's used to, Maurice not coming home at night because she wasn't in a panic. If that's not the norm, she never said, oh my God, I woke up, I was freaking out. I didn't know what happened. She didn't say that. She was like, then I went over to the office and he's not answering his phone. Like all of this stuff that she's saying, and she tries to say it in such a way that she thinks we don't hear what it actually is. So they got things going on that's, what's the point in holding on, Kimmy, really? Based on all the things that you've been through. And you talking about you think I'm just supposed to be with you because you're pretty. Well, I'm glad you think he's pretty. Is that what it is? He thinks he's pretty? She said he in his soft hands era. I don't know what that means. I don't think there's anything wrong with the person. Like he's an attorney now who, maybe he was doing building because there was, I have to do what I need to do in order to get to where I want to be type situation. I don't think that him building that you're not getting me all hot and bothered because you're not building cabinets. I don't think that's the actual thing. I think it's that, he ain't seeing you. He not hearing you. He don't give a fuck. He's just, you're there to like raise his kid apparently because he thinks that just saying things, is anybody spending time with Monster? Send Monster back home with his mama because you and Kimmy, it just doesn't seem like a healthy space for him to be in. It's his last year of school and you got Maurice over here. Now he's stuck there because you don't want to change his school. Whew, child. Let it go. I don't think she will. Maurice came to a point where he basically said, and then even in that, he's acting like, people that say, I'm not going to say it, but you take it there, like right there to the edge. So he's like, I don't want to wish any ill on our marriage. Why would you say that? So Kimmy, I don't know. I guess she's still in a place of hope. He said there's no negotiation. So what you going to do? And I feel like being happy trumps whatever this is right here is unhealthy for somebody who's trying to get, in a healthy mindset. This man is out. I feel like everybody has thought Kimmy would be the one to get tired of Maurice and you know what I'm saying? Check out. But it looks like it's the other way around. We won't know for sure, because like I said before, they're going on a break and they'll be back in March. So it is what it is, child. I will be back. However, when will I be back? I don't know. I'll see you when I see you. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, bye, y'all.